Welcome back to the Chicago Tomahawk. I'm Mike, and I got my linemate Matt with me. Today, we're going to go over some Blackhawks news. We're going to go over some NHL news. There's a lot of it. Most notably for the Blackhawks, they sent down, we had a list of guys sent down. This is their second round. Earlier in the week, they had their first round. There really wasn't anybody too notable on it, but on the second round, there was. Hey, Matt, can you go over the guys who were just sent down?
Yeah, we just got this report this morning. Colton Dach, Cole Gutman, Ryder Ralston, Sammy Savoy, Landon Salgart, and Ethan Del Mastro. Pretty key guys, I think, in the development. And Rockford's going to be good, man.
Yeah, they are. And, I'm mostly curious about how Colton Dach is kind of taking the news, because when he was interviewed a couple weeks ago, he said that last year he felt that he was good enough to make the team. Obviously, he didn't. They sent him down to Rockford, and he had an injury that he had to deal with per usual. But he said he was feeling good coming into camp this year, and that he was expecting to make the team. I wonder, how he's dealing with that. He's like, am I ever going to get a chance? Are they ever going to let me, give me a 10-game, kind of like a 10-game tryout? In the big league. What do you think is kind of going on with Dach?
I think Dach eventually is going to get called up, and I think he's going to probably steal himself a spot. They're just right now. I just don't know if there would be any room for him. Where are you going to put him on the fourth line? I think our top six is actually, if you look at it on paper, it's pretty decent. So.
Right.
You want to get the kid minutes. He's probably going to be on the top line down there. And,
right.
There's he's got some good talent around him too. And who knows, they're saying Frank Nazar might even be going down there too. So it's going to be like an all-star team of prospects.
Yeah.
So I think the big three right now, I would say, are Korch, Frank, and Nolan Allen right now they're really keeping a close eye on them, and you got to put them in situations like against Detroit tonight. Put them on the power play, put them on the penalty kill, see what they got, give them minutes. So it's going to be a couple. What, we got 2 weeks now or a week?
Yeah, I believe October. Was it October 4th? Is the first game?
Nine days.
6?
They got 9 days to really zone in on these guys if they're going to be on the team this year.
We'll get into Nazar in a minute, but with Dach, I'm curious, what position, if it was like a perfect world, where would he be playing at? Is he like a top line center? Is he like more of a defensive type of center? Where should he be playing if he is playing on, say it's game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs and he's on the Blackhawks team? Where should he be playing?
I think you want him in the top 6. I think I think he needs more time just to learn the game, the system, and stuff like that. But I would definitely want him in the top 6. I don't think I'd want him in the bottom 6.
What about Nazar?
He's another top 6 guy. I think he could be like a freaking lightning rod. Last night he had some good shifts with. I think they had him with the big rig and. Taylor Hall at one time, and he looked good. He looked comfortable out there, and yeah. I think top 6 would be good for him too.
So my point that I'm trying to make is that this top 6 is going to start getting pretty crowded, man. And
it's crowded now. Yeah, you got Nick Foligno could easily be a top 6 on this team, and he's not even hitting the top 6.
Right.
So you figure you're looking at this team there's one spot, like we said last week. And I think Reichel, they want Reichel to take it.
Right.
So, and they're waiting for him to make that jump, and maybe they're going to give him a shot opening night. And we know his leash is short, so he's got to do something, every night if he wants to keep it.
Right. If you really look at Reichel, man, I think that he's deserving of it. He's put in his time. At the same time, I think that he feels the heat on his back with some other prospects that we have. And I think that the Blackhawks have purposely put this heat out there for him to try to motivate him in a way and maybe try to push him. I still think that he needs a little bit more development before we can start expecting, him to respond to this kind of heat. But skill and speed trumps everything. And if he just goes out there, uses his speed, and like Richardson said, shoots the puck, he says good things happen when he shoots the puck. So hopefully he takes that hint. Or him being a playmaker, maybe he's like, maybe I can open up some space for Connor and set up Connor so he could use his shot. So as of right now, I think Reichel belongs in the top 6. He's got Nazar and Dach, really closing in. And you can even make a case for Cole Gutman, because I think that he's a solid player, man. And he's getting, stronger and stronger as the years go by. He had an injury, not last season, the season before, that kind of derailed him, because he was, kind of a point per game for a second there. And Landon Slaggert, I thought, had a really good run last year at the Hawks. That they didn't have him in the top 6, had him playing a bottom 6 role, but he took it and kind of ran with it. He's got some speed, he's got some grit, he can shoot, and I'm curious to see what happens with those guys that I just mentioned. Taking into consideration, we've also got Turbo. He's not going to play 82 games this year. I'm predicting around 65. Well, with injuries, Taylor Hall, we could say maybe 65. I would hopefully say 65.
I hope 82.
Yeah, I hope 82.
And I hope just trade him. I really do.
I'm just saying that I'm hoping that he actually plays. But if he's not, we have two areas, 2 positions in the top 6. And we've got 2 guys, ready to kind of take in those spots and take those opportunities. And I think that the Hawks are looking to do that. They're looking to see if, like, hey, can Turbo stay healthy? Can Hall stay healthy? If not, and they go down, can these kids come up and essentially, steal that opportunity? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think if Hall goes down, you got Frank. And somebody else goes down, you got Reichel right there, which is a good thing. Like you said, competition sometimes brings the best in, especially friendly competition with your teammate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I got to figure Bertuzzi, Connor, and either Kershev, or if it's Taylor Hall, whatever they decide to do, that's going to be our big guns. Might switch here and there, which is fine. But I hope Reichel and Nazar outwork these guys and, force them out of here. And that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that if the Hawks are doing well, that they're going to want to move Hall at the deadline? Or they're saying possibly Anthony Naciu?
I think I was surprised we kept him last year. But, he had some injury problems. His speed is unbelievable.
It is.
You can't teach that. Taylor Hall, I hope he has an unbelievable season with Connor. Trade deadline, he's the number 1 guy everybody wants. He's that big gun that you need to get you over the hump, get you a playoff, like a Marian Hossa-like trade. That one year the Penguins brought him in, and this was the guy they put with Sid. Just every year it seems like there's one guy like that, the hot commodity. I hope it's Taylor Hall. And we get a first-round draft pick, maybe a good prospect. That'd be awesome. Anthony Ciu too is it's all good. He could be a top 6, bottom 6 guy, adding some speed. I thought he would have looked good with the Oilers because they're so fast as it is. But they didn't make the trade. But yeah, these guys play good. It's win-win for us. They put up good numbers. People are going to want them. We get draft picks. If they get hurt, we got young guys waiting to take over. And, we're going to clear up cap then next season. And we could start, slowly filling in these like Colton Dach guys and Del Mastro guys and building our team within, and I like that. I like 2010, we had a lot of homegrown guys. And some teams you look at the Rangers, man.
Yeah.
What do they have, 3 guys that they've actually drafted? I feel like every other guy they have has been from somebody else.
Yeah.
You had Panarin, he came from here. Zibanejad came from Ottawa, and Fox was drafted by the Flames. They ended up getting him. It's like, geez, it's like that's what the Red Wings used to do. Like, oh, we don't draft good. We're going to buy our team and get somebody else's stuff. And I like that. I like when you homegrown your guys and they start with Rockford, and it's rewarding in the end, I think.
We can give New York some credit because when they brought Zibanejad in, he wasn't a 40-goal guy, and
No.
Fox definitely wasn't a Norris candidate. When he came in, they saw something in him, and that definitely paid off.
Some guys do that. Yeah, some teams like to do that, and it works. I guess I want to say Shesterkin, the kid who's had a breakout year, Lafreniere.
Mm-hmm.
Is a Capo Caco. There's not too many guys. There's a lot of guys, other like rejects from other teams, or they like somebody and they blossom there. They developed them different and they brought the best out in them. That's just how some teams do it. But I like the homegrown and rewarding in the end. Like, hey, we started out with this kid when he was 18 and he's 26 hoisting a cup right now, and it's cool.
Yeah, it is. And it also really helps build that camaraderie between guys as well, where they're like, hey, we came into the league together. You start winning stuff together like the Blackhawks did. It forms an unbreakable bond between those guys. And I think that, just hypothetically speaking, if the Blackhawks are sniffing the playoffs at the trade deadline, do you think that they should make any moves? Not to bring guys in, but to say keep Hall and keep Athanasiou, and they're like, hey, you know what? You guys have been battling all year. We're 2 points out of a playoff spot, and you guys deserve it. And we're gonna keep the team together, and let's see if you guys can actually pull it off. What do you think?
You mean like give them an extension, or
no? I mean like not trading them at the deadline,
gotcha.
but keeping them.
I don't see that happening. But if Taylor Hall is at like 35 goals at the deadline with like 40 assists already, something like that, 30 and 30, it's pretty hard to let a guy go like that when you're in a race. And there's really good chemistry. I'm assuming it's going to be with Bedard, and his injury, the injury thing for me, that's a big red flag. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the race, you got to keep what's working. That's the risk you play, and then usually July 1st comes and they can't get a deal, and you end up losing them for free, and that sucks too.
Yeah. Well, cool, man. I'm really getting excited for hockey. This is really, it's really starting to pick up. The Blackhawks have, they struck a deal with DirecTV where you can, you'll be able to watch the Chicago Sports Network on there, which is their new home. It's not Chicago Sports. Was it? Yeah, Chicago Sports is shutting down CSNBC. Is that what it's called, man?
Yeah, CSN or whatever.
CSN. Yeah. They're shutting down on October 1st. The Blackhawks, the Bulls, and the Sox have their own. They've got their own network now. They have a deal with DirecTV. They don't have a deal with Xfinity yet. And there's a lot of a lot of people who still have traditional cable that use Xfinity in the Chicagoland area. But the good news is that you can get those games over the air with a digital antenna on channel 62. And I think it's 62.5, and you essentially can watch the games for free, and it will convert into HD. Man, I don't know when this is going to happen, but I would love to see sports in like 1080p, 60 frames a second, or maybe even 4K. But that's the deal with watching the Blackhawks. The last 3 preseason games, they're still figuring out how they're going to televised that. They had one on the Blackhawks YouTube channel, another on their website. So it's kind of a freaking mess right now, but hopefully they get everything ironed out. So moving on to the NHL. Oh, hold on, Matt, notable guys that are still up on the Blackhawks right now is Nolan Allen. And he's somebody I have been wanting to see get the opportunity at the NHL level. But at the same time, I believe he's the captain for the Ice Hogs, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. So it's going to be interesting, but I think he's willing to let that C go if he, is getting a spot with a big team.
You know what? And that actually says a lot for him because he's so young, but he shows, those leadership qualities, and kind of reminds you of Siebes in a way.
Yeah, he's that traditional mean stay-at-home guy, but Siebes kind of elevated his game a little bit. He kind of turned into a good little two-way guy, scoring some big goals when we needed him. But I guess in a perfect world, you'd like to see Nolan Allen paired up with a guy like Korchinski or Del Mastro, somebody like that, to be like the smart, steady, stay-at-home guy, defensive responsibilities first, and you let Korch do his thing, and you let other guys like Seth Jones do their thing. Like Vlasic's probably going to be the top shutdown guy this year, which he deserves. He had a good season last year. But yeah, you need those guys. You can't have all, Erik Karlsson-minded guys because you're going to give up a lot of goals. So you got to complement these guys.
As of right now, they had Alec Martinez paired with Seth Jones, which kind of baffled me because Vlasic and Jones showed some pretty good chemistry last year, and we've been waiting for somebody to come along and show some chemistry with Jones because we thought it'd be Murphy, but that's not the case. I don't think it hurts the Blackhawks, man, to suit up Nolan Allen and Korchinski on that bottom defensive pairing and say, hey guys, go out there and figure it out, because that's what you need to do.
Yep.
And,
I'm fine with that.
And give them that opportunity, that third line defensive pairing.
I would love that. And then you got those vets you just signed. You could call them. You're not going to play every night. You got this guy jumping in this game. You look at different teams, like say you're playing the Sharks. Yeah, you're going to put Nolan Allen in with Korchinski, something like that. If you're playing, say, the freaking Golden Knights, you might want a more experienced veteran to keep it respectable, less mistakes and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's why he brought in these guys like Martinez, and he's a Stanley Cup champion, I think 3 times.
Yeah, 2 with the Los Angeles, 1 with
very
Vegas.
Good guy to have in the locker room for that. And I think they brought in that Brody guy. Is he a defenseman? I think
Brody.
I don't think he's going to get that much time. Sometimes you get that head scratching signing, like what was the point of that, But
sure,
I get it. He wants vets in there just in case. The young guys are having a bad stretch. You got that dependable guy that's played over 400, 500 games, so it makes sense.
Oh, and Spellacy, man, this guy's been making a splash.
Yeah, there's like a little mania going on X right now about this guy. I've only seen one play of him, and I think he laid somebody out, and Dylan Larkin ended up jumping him, and Dylan Larkin got the penalty. So, there's definitely something going on with this guy. They think that he's going to make the team, and I honestly didn't know too much about him until that highlight.
He's 6'3", 210, man. We can use the size.
Yeah, like another Matt Rempe coming up, Yeah.
All right, man. Really unfortunate. Moving on to NHL news. Laine had a horrible play, injured his knee. Matt, take us over that.
You know what? I was telling you before we hit the record button, I watched it probably maybe safe 20 times in a row. And I don't know if it was dirty or not. I couldn't come up with I don't know. I couldn't say, hey, that was a dirty play by him. Sure, knee on knee is usually like, oh, that was dirty. But if you watch it real slow in different angles, you kind of see a guy trying to skate through 2 defensemen and coasting while the Leafs defenseman was kind of holding his ice, and Laine kind of juked away to the right, and his left leg kind of was coasting behind, and it did not look good once you had that still shot, because knees aren't supposed to bend that way, and he went down. Everybody knew instantly, like, oh no, 92 is down.
Get a stretcher.
He ended up, they carried him off the ice, and they showed him in the hallway. He threw his gloves, throwing his helmet in frustration. I feel terrible for the guy.
Yeah.
This was kind of like a new scene type of thing with him, and pretty solid team they had around him, the young guys and stuff. I thought he might have had a good season with these guys, but I think he's going to be out month to month at least. Just looking at that, we don't have any word on what.
Dude, that guy's out for. He might be out for this season, dude.
It did look very, very bad. You hope he could come back and at least get a game in with the Canadians, because they were hyped. They didn't do anything this year in the summer.
I know.
Canadians didn't do anything, and then the Patrick Laine stuff started coming out like he wants to be traded, and they brought him in. That was their big deal this summer. That was their big free agent, kind of like signing, trading, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you have a view on if it was dirty or not, but obviously the Canadians fans think it's dirty, and the Leafs fans obviously think it was kind of irresponsible on Line A to skate through two guys. And I just think it was I guess if I had to come up with a conclusion, I'd say it was just a really bad collision and horrible timing, and just sometimes that stuff happens.
It didn't seem intentional because, when you're on the ice, you can't just move your limbs. You have to either sway or kind of pick something up. But, it's like you can't just move out of the way. And it seems like he just ran into him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. It looked like he had a really wider stance. Like usually when you move your legs together when you're trying to cut a guy to the inside.
Yeah.
And it's like he kind of knew oh, there's no way I'm getting through. I got a guy coming from each direction right now. And obviously it's easier to say this now. He could have, he didn't really have much ice. He should have just kind of ate it, dumped it in, and maybe tried again, regroup type of thing. But he wanted to go for it. And I don't think it was intentional either, but it's very nasty to watch. And it just sucks. That guy's been through hell, it seems like, and he just can't catch a break. Poor dude. He's cursed.
I'm not laughing at him, dude. It's so unfortunate for him.
Yeah.
At one point, he was saying that he should be drafted ahead of Austin Matthews. Do you remember that?
Well, I saw the all the crap online with Canadians fans. Oh, he's a better scorer than Matthews, and at one time he was better than Matthews, and it's okay, this Matthews almost put in 70 goals last season, I think.
Yeah, 69.
And I'm not
complaining.
pretty damn consistent over 30, 40.
Right, 40.
Sorry, there's no way this is his third team. So if he's better, he still would have been on the Jets. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't be getting bounced around like this
and getting a letter.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, one of the bigger things going on right now, and this seems like to be developing worse and worse for the Bruins week by week, is the Swayman contract problem. At one point they had Ullmark and Swayman, and they decided, hey, we're gonna they traded Ullmark, and Swayman's gonna be our guy. Now Swayman's like, hey, pay me.
Yep. The Bruins screwed up. They should have kept Ullmark until they signed Swayman, and all they did was give him all the leverage. Him and his agent know that, and they're going to use that because the Bruins need him more. And he's a very good goalie. He was very good in the playoffs last year. He had some good runs. The problem is he wants over $8 million, which it's debatable. I think if goalies are starting to get paid more, and I think he's proved it. I think he's proved he's a better goalie than Ullmark, and Ullmark won the Vezina, I think, 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
But the problem is the Bruins only have 8.6 in cap space. So that doesn't give you a lot to do anything. That's $600,000. You're pretty much stuck with your team. You got a number crunch, and I think he's deserving of the contract, but I think the Bruins are pretty set on hey, we can't give you that. We're not going to have flexibility to do things with our team. So, and it's been said that Swayman's willing to sit out till December 1st if he has to. That's the deadline for RFA contracts. And something else interesting I found out, he has the same agent as Willie Nylander. And Willie Nylander did this, I think, last season, correct?
Yeah.
So It's looking very
got his
likely
money.
that this could happen.
Yeah. It begs the question if, Swayman or even Igor Shesterkin has mentioned that he is looking to reset the goalie contract market, meaning that whatever his contract is going to be, it's going to reset the whole thing, where possibly goalies are getting, star forward money.
Double digits. Yeah.
Yeah. Double digits, because they've kind of been stuck in this, 6 to 8.59 million range. I think who was
Carey Price, 10 million. He was the first one.
He was the first one.
I believe
He's kind
so.
of like the unicorn of that double digit contract for goalies. And there was one other person that got 10 million a year. Who wasn't it Florida's goalie?
Oh, Bob. Bob was second. Yeah.
Yeah, he got 10 million as well. So and he won a Stanley Cup. So it shows that teams can win a Stanley Cup with a $10 million. Actually, they made it to the finals 2 years in a row with a $10 million a year goalie. So
it took a while.
It can be done,
but yeah.
You got to give up something.
Bob was worth it.
Yeah. So he's looking to reset the market. Swayman I think he's looking to jump in that as well. The cap is going up big time. The problem is that Boston did not foresee this happening. And they're in trouble, dude.
Well, yeah, I agree. But here's the thing with Shesterkin. He said he's not going to negotiate during the season. He wants to get it done before the season. That's 9 days. He cannot do anything until he sees what Swayman does first.
Right.
Because if Swayman's going to get 9, okay, Shesterkin just bought himself an extra $1 million than what he wanted to. Exactly. So I think that's going to be that's a huge factor in it. And if it doesn't happen, then I don't think Shesterkin's going to sign till next season, like July 1st or whatever.
Right.
Which is fine. He's going to still get paid either way. But I think he's got to wait and see what Swayman does to the market, because that's the huge factor right now. And we had predictions, in this division. My predictions are going to change if Swayman is not on this team.
Right.
They're going to be that fourth team that's trying to get that first wild card or maybe second wild card. They're a good team still, but you got Korpisalo starting over Swayman. That's not good. So I got Tampa jumping up a spot. And then, you know what? This is also those 3 teams we were talking about, Buffalo, Detroit, and Ottawa. This is huge for them. Like, this is like, hey, a top dog might not be where they're supposed to be. We gotta step up and try to get that wild card spot.
Right.
So this is big for them. This Swayman is kind of controlling a lot in the NHL right now, like the prediction standings, and I mean, he's supposed to be a USA that tournament, the Four Nations tournament.
Yeah,
he's supposed to be on that team. He's an American.
Whatever. Yeah,
it's insane. I just I can't believe the Bruins. They seem they're not going to budge, and Swayman's like, I'm not going to budge either. So it's like, all right, maybe they should. Maybe they should be out signing some free agent goalie like the Vancouver Canucks just did. Demko's got a weird injury going on. They signed Lankinen the other day, and they're going to go with that rookie kid that they had last year. And that tells you, like, okay, there's something really wrong if we got to sign Lankinen to. Yeah. I mean, and I think the Bruins are going to get desperate pretty soon too, because I don't think Korpisalo is going to be, he's going to be that guy that's going to keep them steady. And if he does, good for him, but I just don't see it.
What other, if you really think about it, Boston, whatever their plans were for this season, you could throw out the window if Swayman doesn't play.
They're getting older too, man. Every year they get older.
Oh, yeah.
And, they're in good hands with Pasta. He's still a stud. But, Marchand he's not getting any younger. He's getting older. He's playing a lot of playoffs. He's kind of like where Bergeron was starting to slow down a little bit. Still think he's a great player and everything, but yeah, they got the good system, but I think this has got to get done, man. If they want to be that consistent 1-2 team, Swayman's got to be the guy in that. And I can't. The guy laughing right now is Allmark. He's like, "Wow, these guys are stupid. They should have kept me." And they brought in Zadorov, your boy, to try to help on defense. I don't know if that's the answer. I think he's gonna bring toughness and more physicality, but that's gonna come with more penalties.
Oh yeah.
And so the best penalty killer on the team is a goaltender, and you go back to Swayman. It's like, geez, I just don't know what the Bruins are thinking right now.
It's really disconcerting, man, because just looking at that squad, they've been looking to try to make that next step and try to go deep into the playoffs, but it just hasn't been in the cards for them, and they've first round, and they kind of just drop out. I don't really see them as Stanley Cup contenders, even with Swayman.
No, their window closed. I think once Bergeron left, I thought that was it for them. Still a very good team, but the best NHL team in history to lose to the eighth seed Panthers. Nothing against the Panthers. They were in playoff mode for months before the playoffs started, and they just walked all over the Bruins that series. But I thought their window closed that 2 years ago when they were supposed to win, and they got pounced in the first round.
So moving on to the Metro Division, let's cover that before we end it today. We've got the Hurricanes, the Jackets, the Devils, the Islanders, the Rangers, the Flyers, the Pens, and the Caps. Now, this is a really interesting division because you have the Devils, and you don't know which squad is going to show up. Is it the squad beforehand that was kind of like a Cinderella team that snuck into the playoffs and ousted the Rangers, who were crowned by the New Yorkers to win the Stanley Cup that year? Or is it going to be the squad from last year that that just kind of disappointed a bit? And we'll also do an over-under for Jack Hughes on how many games he plays because, apparently he likes to play with an edge.
Yeah, I know. Jeez.
And I'll say over 55 games this year.
I think he's going to play a full season. I think he's going to put in 40 again. You know what? You might laugh at me, but I got the Devils ahead of the Rangers this year. Just because,
really?
Yeah, I think they got healthy. They got better. They locked up their young guns, and they brought in Jacob Markstrom, who's been a very solid goalie for years. And he's finally got a good offensive team in front of him. So yeah. I got the Hurricanes, and I got the Devils and the Rangers, 1, 2, 3. The wild card, I still think that it could easily go to 2 teams in the Atlantic still. I just
Let me guess. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I just don't think that. I think the Pens are on the decline. The Caps are just playing hockey for Ovi right now. And
yeah.
The Islanders, I don't get them either. And I know I like Patrick Waugh. I like what he's done, but I just they're older. They don't score goals. Obviously, the Jackets are They're kind of figuring it out right now. And the Flyers were really good last year until that scandal came out with the Team Canada allegations and stuff, and they had to terminate Carter Hart's contract, who was a very good goalie, and they kind of hit a rut there. And I don't see the Flyers, the Islanders, and the Penguins and Capitals competing for that wild card when you got the Sens, the Wings, and Buffalo knocking on the door to get to that next level. And you got to think there's like maybe one wild card spot, because like you got the Panthers, they're the champs. Obviously, they're going to be in the playoffs, and Leafs, they're going to be in the playoffs for 4 days. And then the Lightning are the Lightning. People think that trading Stamkos was crazy, but they brought in his replacement, Jake Gensel, who's very good point-of-game guy, and I just think that they might even be better, and they got a healthy Vasilevsky.
And they brought back Ryan McDonough.
And a very good defenseman who's very familiar with winning there. twice. So it's just you got to think if you're not 1, 2, or 3 in the Metro, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to make the playoffs, even with a winning record. That's the insane thing. Right. So, yeah, I got to give it to the Hurricanes. They're still a good team, up and 4-line team. The goaltending is a question mark for me, but they're still going to get wins. Devils, Markstrom's huge X factor, and then a healthy Hughes. Actually, a healthy Dougie Hamilton, too. That should be your over-under. That guy's hurt way too much.
Yeah.
But I still think they're a solid team. They're going to get Luke Hughes back probably by Christmas, I think. So they're going to be even better. And then you got to give it to the Rangers. They were the President's Trophy winners last year. They're still good, but their window is closing pretty quick, too. So those are my 1, 2, 3 teams, and I think those are going to be the only teams in the playoffs for this division.
As far as the Rangers, where do you think their window closes? How much time do you think that they have?
I think it's this year or that bust, because you're going to pay Shesterkin a shit ton of money. You're going to have to move somebody. Trouba's going to be gone because he's making $8 million a year. They want to get rid of him in this year, Trouba. So,
yeah,
the only young guy that's coming up is that Lafreniere, and every year it seems like Kakko needs to be traded. Yeah. And that Hedl kid is very good, but he got hurt again. So, and then you got the Breadman. He's locked up. But they're getting older. And I know Breadman almost put in 50 last year. Good for him. He's shooting the puck more. He should shoot the puck more because he's got an unbelievable shot. But they're older, and they're going to have to start moving pieces. Guys are going to want to get paid more, and we've seen it with the Hawks. All the talent we had, you got to pay the guys. So eventually it's going to kind of trickle down to the guys that are, long-term and locked up. And eventually that leads to more like the Hawks, the downfall of the dynasty type of thing. But I think this year they got to win this year, or it's going to be a lot different of a team next year, especially with that Shesterkin contract.
I'll give you 2 X factors between the Devils and the Rangers. For the Rangers, it's going to be Chris Kreider. Can he get near that 50-goal mark again? I think that he's a good player, but I don't think that he's going to get those kind of numbers again, and I think that's a big deal. And for the Devils, it's going to be Timo Meier. When the Devils traded for him, they thought that they were getting a 40-goal scorer, and he had a rough season last year. If Timo Meier can get going and score, say, maybe 30 to 35, like he's known to do, that could be a big a big thing for the Devils, man.
Yeah, that's a very excellent point, because my uncle and I are in the same fantasy league, and he drafted him, and I laughed my ass off. And he said the exact same thing as you. He's like, dude, this guy's due. They gave him big money. They brought in talent around him, and he thinks he's going to have a breakout 40, 35 goal season. And that definitely is a huge thing for the Devils, too. They need him to score. And they got these Nico Heischer's a good captain, good player, Bratt. They got all these kids that you don't hear too much about them because you only hear about the Rangers and stuff. But for me, goaltending is everything. And you bring in Jacob Markstrom, who's one season he had 11 shutouts on the Flames, and they were 1-goal games because the Flames weren't known for scoring that many goals. And this guy was huge, So that's my X factor, and I think he's going to have a great year, and I hope he does. And I think the Devils could win that division with him.
I'm going to call it now, man. At what point does for the Islanders, they're a squad, man, they're just so up and down, and they one season they're making the playoffs, and then the next season, they're practically in the running for the lottery,
Yeah.
You never know what kind of squad that you never know what kind of Islanders team that you're getting year by year. At what point is Matthew Barzal like, you know what, I'm done. I need to go somewhere else where, they care about winning and they could put in a solid team year in, year out. At what point is this guy like, I want out?
Yeah, my arms are open right now. Come on in, pass the puck to Bedard, because I remember we talked about this. I said he's one guy, the type of player that would make Connor Bedard even better than what he is. This guy is an amazing playmaker, excellent vision. I think he would be awesome here. But hey, man, say they're having a rough start this year, and Lou, he talking a while like, hey, we got to blow it up. We could very well see guys getting moved out of there because they're older too now. You got that Bo Horvat they brought in, the captain of the Canucks back in the day. They brought him in. It's just him and Barzal if you think about it, man.
Yeah.
And then Anders Lee's been their captain for a while. He's kind of like that, kind of like a Zach Hyman. He's like in front of the net a lot, kind of getting the dirty goals. You need that.
He's almost 35.
They're old, man. Yeah, and then you got a very good goaltender. You got some say he's better than Shesterkin, but he's playing on a team that nobody really cares about.
Right.
And that's what you got to figure out. If they're having a rough season, it might be time to blow it up. But Lou Lamoriello, he's old school, man. He's gonna do everything he can to make the team make the playoffs. He's always been like that. Even with the Devils, he was like that. I think he was with the Leafs when they were drafting, Marner and Matthews. This guy's a winner. He knows what he's doing, but
right,
he's got a very old core. It might be something to consider if they have a slow start for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine what it would be like if Sorokin was playing on a team that had really good defense. Could you imagine that?
Wow. Him and just like we always say, Russia, man, whoever is scouting these Russian goalies, the Hawks need to give him a call and just bring him to the draft because we need to get one because these Russians are taking over the net.
Imagine Sorokin on, say, like the Avs.
Yeah, that'd be the Avs would be a contender, probably win the Central every season. And, you got guys like McKinnon and Rantanen up front, and then you got guys, Cale Makar on the back end and that guy in that. Jeez, it's like an all-star team.
Yeah, it would be. Well, cool, man. Do you have anything else?
Nope, just I'm looking every day about these cuts and stuff. I hope we get to see Korch and Frankie on the opening night roster. I think that would be pretty cool. Even Nolan Allen, I would like to see make it.
I want to see Nolan Allen too. See what he's got.
Time for some new faces.
Yeah, absolutely. Get some new blood in there. Let those guys, get out there, play, and figure it out. Obviously we're not looking to win a Stanley Cup this year. So if that's not the goal and making the playoffs is kind of an outside shot, why not put guys in there where they can learn? So, and that's my take on it. That's my take on it. That's all that we got for you guys. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter, and we'll catch you on the next one. This is the Tomahawk. We're out of here.